Once upon a time, in a kingdom that shimmered under the golden rays of the sun and glowed beneath the silver moon, there lived a princess named Seraphina. Her beauty was renowned throughout the lands, yet it was not her appearance that captivated those who met her, it was her heart, pure and boundless, a heart that beat for the well-being of every creature in the kingdom, whether human, animal, or even the tiniest insect that fluttered in the gardens of the royal palace. Seraphina had grown up amidst grand halls and sparkling fountains, yet she never valued jewels, silks, or gold. What she treasured most was the life around her, the whispers of trees, the songs of birds, and the laughter of children playing in the streets. In the heart of the royal gardens, hidden behind a veil of ancient oaks and climbing ivy, there was a flower unlike any other. It was said that this flower had been planted by the very hands of the first queen of the kingdom, a queen who had loved magic and life in equal measure. The petals shimmered with the colors of dawn, shifting from soft pinks to deep purples, and the center of the bloom radiated a golden light that pulsed with life. It was a magical flower, unique in its power. It would only bloom fully when someone offered a true sacrifice, an act of selflessness that came from the depths of the heart. Princess Seraphina had heard the tales of the flower since she was a child, but as she grew, she realized that the magic of the flower was more than legend, it was a reflection of the soul. One spring morning, she wandered into the hidden garden, following the delicate scent of the blooms that no one else seemed to notice. The flower stood alone on a small mound, surrounded by delicate ferns and sparkling dewdrops. Its petals were closed, hiding the golden heart within, and though Seraphina had never seen it bloom, she felt its energy pulsing through the air, soft and insistent, like a heartbeat calling to hers. For many years, Seraphina watched over the flower. She spoke to it as if it were a friend, telling it of her dreams, her fears, and her hopes for her kingdom. She tended the soil, watered it, and sang to it in the quiet of dawn. Yet, despite her devotion, the petals remained shut, refusing to open fully. She began to wonder if she would ever witness the flower's true splendor. One day, as she rested beneath the shade of an ancient oak, an old woman appeared at the edge of the garden. She was draped in robes that shimmered like the night sky, and her eyes held the wisdom of countless ages. "Princess Seraphina," the woman said, her voice both gentle and commanding, "you have cared for this flower as no one before you. Yet it remains closed, for it requires more than love, it requires sacrifice." Seraphina's heart tightened. Sacrifice? What must I give? I have given my time, my care, and my devotion. The old woman smiled sadly. The flower seeks the courage to give what cannot be regained. Only through true sacrifice, pure and untainted, will it bloom. And when it does, the magic it holds will bless the world beyond imagination. For days, Seraphina pondered the woman's words. She considered every treasure she had, every possession she cherished, and every comfort of her royal life. She gave away her jewels to the poor, shared her finest silks with those who had none, and even invited the kingdom's most downtrodden children to feast at her table. Yet, each time she returned to the flower, it remained closed, the golden light within still hidden. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in shades of crimson and violet, Seraphina found herself in the palace library, seeking wisdom in ancient scrolls. There, she discovered a tale that changed everything. It spoke of the first queen who had planted the magical flower, a queen who had given not her treasures nor her comfort, but a piece of her very heart. The story described how the queen had of a part of her life, her essence, as a gift to nurture the flower, allowing it to flourish and spread its magic across the land. Seraphina realized what she must do. She understood that the sacrifice demanded by the flower was not material, it was deeply personal. It required giving something of herself, something irreplaceable. Yet, fear tugged at her heart. To give a part of herself meant vulnerability, a surrender she had never faced. But the princess, whose heart was vast and unyielding in its compassion, knew that some fears must be faced to bring light into the world. The following morning, as the first rays of sunlight kissed the palace gardens, Seraphina approached the flower. She knelt before it and closed her eyes. "I give you a piece of my life," she whispered, her voice trembling yet resolute. She imagined a sliver of her energy, her essence, flowing into the flower. The air shimmered, and for a moment, everything seemed to hold its breath. Then, slowly, the petals began to unfold. At first, only one petal, then another, until the bloom expanded like a sunrise captured in living form. Golden light spilled from the center, bathing the garden in warmth and magic. The power of the flower was unlike anything Seraphina had ever witnessed. Streams of light spread across the kingdom, healing wounds, soothing hearts, and bringing life to the barren fields. The crops grew taller, the river sparkled more brightly, and the air itself seemed to hum with energy. Villagers who had known hunger and despair now found their spirits lifted, their bodies nourished, and their hearts lightened. Even the animals of the forests and meadows felt the magic, birds sang more sweetly, deer danced among the trees, and flowers of every kind burst into bloom, their colors richer than ever before. Yet, the princess felt the weight of her sacrifice. She had given a part of her vitality, a fraction of her essence, to awaken the flower. Her cheeks were paler, her steps slower, and a quiet weariness settled into her bones. But she did not regret it. She saw the joy that spread through the kingdom, the lives that had been touched, and the hearts that had been healed. Her sacrifice had not only awakened the flower but had awakened a new spirit of life and hope throughout the land. As days turned into weeks, the magic of the flower continued to grow. Seraphina spent her time nurturing it, but she also learned to nurture herself, understanding that even the most selfless acts must be balanced with care for one's own heart. The villagers, aware of the princess's sacrifice, came to cherish her not only as a royal figure but as a beacon of compassion and courage. They built gardens inspired by the magical bloom, planting flowers in their own homes, each petal a reminder of the power of giving from the heart. The flower itself became a symbol of the kingdom, known far and wide as the flower of life. Scholars came from distant lands to study its magic, artists painted its radiant petals, and musicians composed symphonies in its honor. Yet, those who approached it were reminded of Seraphina's lesson: the flower could not be forced to bloom by greed or desire, it responded only to the purity of sacrifice, the selfless act that transcended personal gain. Years passed, and Princess Seraphina grew into a queen beloved by all. Her hair, now streaked with silver, framed a face that bore the lines of experience, courage, and enduring love. She ruled with wisdom, guiding her people through times of joy and hardship alike. The magical flower continued to bloom, a living testament to the power of sacrifice, compassion, and the courage to give even when it demands a part of oneself. Seraphina often visited the flower, kneeling beside it and remembering the moment she had first given a piece of her life. She whispered her hopes into its golden heart, shared her fears, and sometimes, when the night was quiet, she simply sat, feeling the pulse of its magic and the connection it had forged between her and the world. She knew that life itself was a delicate balance of giving and receiving, and that true magic existed in the moments when one's heart reached beyond the self to touch the lives of others. And so, the kingdom flourished, nourished by the magic of the flower and the love of a queen who understood the deepest truth of all: that the most extraordinary blooms often arise from acts of true sacrifice, and that the light we give to the world, no matter how small, can grow beyond measure when offered with a pure and selfless heart. Even as time carried Seraphina into the quiet years of her life, the flower remained ever radiant, a beacon of hope for generations to come. Children played in its golden glow, lovers met beneath its blossoming petals, and the kingdom thrived in harmony, forever touched by the courage and love of the princess who had dared to give her heart. And in the quiet hours of dawn and dusk, when the wind whispered through the palace gardens, it was said that if one listened closely, they could hear the soft, gentle heartbeat of Seraphina's gift, echoing in every petal, every leaf, and every living soul across the land. Thus, the tale of Princess Seraphina and the magical flower became legend, not a legend of power or conquest, but of the profound magic that blossoms from sacrifice, kindness, and a heart that beats not for itself, but for the world it loves.